Thank you for joining me. I'm Dave from Convention Junkies, and you graciously agreed to grant us in 10 minutes or so your time to talk.
Yeah, thanks.
I went to your panel yesterday, and it was just wow. I actually asked you this. I was trying to name drop. It's like Matthew McConaughey meets Mark Twain.
Oh, that's fun. Yeah, you know, it's like interesting. There are times where I am called upon to do a Matthew McConaughey voice alike, you know, like or I'll be asked to come in and read for something, and they'll say, "Can you do that, Matthew McConaughey?" And I can really drop into it and really like slow it down, and all right, and man, it's just cool. And you know what is cool? This right here is cool, you know, and it can really get in there. But I do think it's kind of my own thing, as it's Matthew's own thing. I would say there's an introspection to it. I think I speak slowly, and that isn't always serviceable because we're trying to get to the point. Okay, get to the point, and I'm like, well, let's take our time getting to the point, because getting to the point is in fact the joy of the journey. So in my whole approach to almost everything, what I've come to this to understand is that it's the discovery that turns me on. It's not the end result. The means turn me on, not the end. I don't give a hoot about the end game, all right, even though it made a lot of money this weekend, apparently. I do care about what I don't know that I didn't know. So in other words, when I get a script, it is 98 pages. I can read it 20 times and know what's on page 1 and what's on page 98. They're not going to change. But it's what I discover in between that's not on the page that is really exciting. And I think that's, as we talked about it, that's what life is, gives us this great adventure.
And motivation for character.
Yeah, we don't know. And it's I don't know what's going to happen, but it's going to be great. As long as you attach that it's going to be great. When we get into a difficult place, I don't know what's going to happen, and it's going to be terrible. I don't know what's going to happen, and I'm not going to be able to get through it. I don't know what's going to happen, and I can't afford it. I'm not going to be able to pay for it. I'm not going to be able to keep what I've already got. Those are things that take us out of our better self-being, our better life, because we build obstacle. Obstacle doesn't, there's no obstacles. There's nothing coming up and saying, I'm in your way. Not one thing. Not health, not poverty. None of that is coming to you and saying, look, I'm looking for Dave. Is there a guy named Dave here? Because I'm poverty and I want to get in Dave's way. That is not how it works. Yeah. It's Dave that brings poverty. Dave brings poor health. Dave brings unhappiness.
I actually attended your panel yesterday, and it was just, it's just going to be talking about his career, but it's almost like a seminar. I felt like it's part panel, part like, you can help yourself, buddy. You know, it was kind of like good life lessons to take. I feel
like people always want to ask me, well, how did you? What they really want to know is, how did you do this, or how do you do this, or you must be. And I actually don't think that I am. Or I don't think of myself that way, because I look out at everybody here, as I said, that are the audience. Mm-hmm. And I use that term with reverence. I don't use that term as a I'm here and you're there type thing. And I look at us all as one body. So I look at what you have as symbiotically also what I have. And I hope you look at me that way as well. And so we share this one thing, or this one several things. And I recognize that that's important. And because that's how we keep growing. And so I'm interested in that. But that takes a lot of life to get to that point. I think when you're 18 to 25, you don't give a hoot about any of that. You are there to go out and conquer. Me. And I'm going to take a few friends with me and a relationship with me and a bunch of money. I'm going to make a bunch of money, and I'm going to obtain a bunch of material goods. And you do all that, and you lose it all, and you struggle, and you get ahead, and then you come to this great epiphany of, wow, it's really about these wonderful things. People have been asking me about The Walking Dead all weekend, naturally. And what I've been experiencing is reflection on not just what a great experience it was, but also what a great setting it was. I was in a place that was made artificially. It was not a real prison, our set. This was a set that was made by incredible artists, and the design, and to make an efficient incarceration facility and then have it art directed and run down as if an apocalyptic event had happened, a riot, for instance, in Attica. And that was all done handmade. It wasn't a real location that we found. You know, these were bars that were constructed and built, and swinging doors and locks and things that were designed to look authentic. And that's amazing. And when I look back and say, wow, that was really special to be in the presence of those artists, those creators, I feel grateful. And that's a...
And this is kind of revelation that makes me wish you'd stay longer in the show. You're just a fascinating character, and it just, you know, but that's the nature of the show.
That is the nature of the show. And I think you stay just long enough. You either stay too short, which would be in this instance, some would say, where you want more of that character, or too long, where I miss that guy, but I'm not sure why. Yeah. You know, and I think that's exactly how life works. You know.
Did you? I'm curious. I didn't read too much into this because I was trying to explore other aspects of your career. But did you? Was this at the time where they were doing death dinners? Were you on the show long enough?
Yeah, I had one.
I don't know if you've been asked about this 1,000 times, but I'd like to ask you about it. Was yours as beautiful as all the other ones?
It was. It was so, because it's so generous. First of all, because you're not, when the bill comes around, it skips over you. You don't drop in, you know, to split the bill at all. So it's lovely, and they're honoring you. It's the people you work with, and it's really focused on you, the person, not you, the character. So it wasn't like Axel wasn't really there that night, but Lew was. And so amongst your peers that you're working with, and not just cast people, but wardrobe and makeup.
The crew.
Yeah, the crew, the producers and writers and whoever's available. And you know what people forget is that it's very hard to leave the show because you're not actively day to day, but it's also very hard for the people who are on the show to have lost somebody that they count on. Think about it being a team, and one of your teammates, one of the people in your lineup that you rely on, is not there. You know, think about it being a hockey team, and all of a sudden you losing a defenseman that has been solid, and that you really like, that you aren't going to have there tomorrow. That has an effect on everyone, and so it's a little bit of difficulty on the survivor, so to speak. You know, the dead go on. We go on to do other things, and so I think just when as you start to realize that someone's leaving and they're not going to be there, you start to panic a little bit. That weakens us. This was a really good actor that brought a lot, and they're not here. We're going to be in a bit of a vulnerable situation, and so you have to make up for that a little bit. But then you're waiting for that next one to come on, and you bring that person on with good faith and goodwill, as I was brought into, and welcome to the team and help us carry the load. So that's generally the good feeling at the Walking Dead house. So I think the death dinners are a nice, lovely farewell. They're fun. They're sad. But at some point, I got to get up and go to work tomorrow, is what the last thing that said. I got to go. Yeah. You know, we can't be you can stay out all night because you're just going to, you know, sleep in and go on vacation, but I got to still work tomorrow. So at some point, they've got to get on with it. And you understand that because I attended death dinners on the other realm saying goodbye, and I recognized it. It's a good thing. It's a difficult thing, but it's the right thing. It's a good thing to be that they do.
I actually wanted to touch base a little bit on the fact that you've been in multiple, and not the, I mean, okay, you've been in Rob Zombie projects, like Devil's Rejects, Halloween, Texas Chainsaw Massacre,
a lot of horror, a lot of what's known as the horror genre. Yeah.
But for one director, and I you know, when directors repeatedly go back to the same actors, it's usually because they find them, if there's something in them that they cherish. Yeah. And it's like, it's kind of a very honorable thing. Like only certain actors, like, you know, Leonardo DiCaprio. Yeah. One director will keep using him over and over again, or Tim Burton will keep using Johnny Depp over and over again because you just, oh, this guy's perfect for what I have in mind. So that must be an ego boost to be selected repeatedly by a director to keep coming back, roll after roll after roll. I
think it gives you validation that your work is right. Mm-hmm. I think that it gives you a stroke, a compliment that you're a decent person, you're a good human being, that somebody would want you back in their environment to work with, that you're not going to create chaos on set or be difficult, so to speak. I appreciate that. I think as much as anything in our industry, we're all professionals, and the idea that you're a top-notch citizen to work with, you're a good teammate, I think goes a long way. And so I always appreciate that, and that you bring something to the party, that you're special, that you're focused, that you're well prepared, and you bring something additionally that I can count on. And I feel like that is in fact an honor, and I don't take it lightly. I think anytime you're selected by a director, it speaks to the fact that you've done something to be accomplished, and I think that you should give yourself credit for that, you know, and that you've connected, and you have to be okay in the events that you're not selected. So it goes the other way too. There are times that I work for directors and then I don't do their next movie. And it used to bother me, like, look, I did a good job for you. I was a good dude. I went well beyond what was asked of me. I didn't cost that much. But finally, Tony Scott, God rest his soul, took me aside and said, I can't use you in everything. You're not right for everything. Most actors say, I can do anything. I'll be whatever you need me to be. And there's truth to that. You'll try. But the idea that you are how you're drawn. I am how I'm drawn. And that doesn't always fit in the picture of everything. You got to be okay with that. And then especially be okay when a director doesn't see your picture fitting in to the one that he's making. And that takes a lot of experience to get to be in a place to accept that. And when you do, then life gets a lot easier. When you start accepting in life, life starts to flow a little bit better for you. And you should feel good about every opportunity that you've created for yourself through your preparation, and every opportunity that hasn't come that you've still created to prepare for, and you didn't get selected. But in cases like Rob Zombie, who's used me, Tony Scott, who's used me, Gore Verbinski, who's used me, Mark Young, who's used me, directors who continually use me, I think I've served them well, and I bring something to their work that they appreciate, they can count on. I feel like one of the things that I like to think of myself, you can rely on me. I'm going to do this, and I'm going to bring something extra. I'm going to try to raise the level but I'm also going to free you up to not have to worry about this part of your work, that you can go focus on someone else, maybe a new actor that you've not worked with yet, that you want to get to know, want to work more focused with. Maybe there's a place that needs a lot more work. You can let my side of the hall, you can let your attention rest a little bit. I got you covered. Go focus on that. I got your back. You know, so I feel like there's that. That's my approach in collaboration that way. So, and I take that with a lot of pride.
Yeah. Actually, besides the horror genre, do you have like a project that you worked on, you know, that was the most fun thing you've ever done your whole life? Like, can you imagine if this is Groundhog Day, I want it to be this project?
I feel like Rango was just entirely a joy. It's an animated feature.
I loved it.
We didn't know that we were going to go in and actually film it. And then we were told that. Everyone was told except Johnny Depp. He showed up with his pages and thought he was going into the recording booth. But we actually had to get into costume, no pages in hand, learn all our lines, act like these animals, flap our arms like birds, or walk on all fours. I mean, you've got Bill Nye and, you know, Stephen Root and Johnny Depp and Isla Fisher walking around like animals, as we did when we were 6 years old at preschool, or children on the playground, and just having an absolute adorable time on a huge sound stage and sets built at Universal Studio, directed by Gore Verbinski, who had built the Pirates of the Caribbean. And we were making this huge, immense, really well done animated feature, which our payoff at the end, we win the Oscar as the best animated feature. That was just entirely joyful.
It should have won a 2 cat comedy as well.
It was really genius. A wonderful experience, and so I would like to continue to be doing that. It was so much work, not for us per se, but for the animators, because they then took that film that we had filmed and animated it. So they had a lot of blueprint to build. I don't know. I would love to think that Gore would revisit that as a Rango too, but I've never heard him say one thing. I know it was so much work and so much effort and time.
You know, I actually, this is a really odd situation. We're doing an interview in a panel room, and the Degrassi panel is just about to come in here. I just noticed, I didn't even notice how much time is going by. You were such a...
Oh, that's kind.
So I want to ask you a real quick question.
Quick question, and then we can let the Degrassi... I appreciate it. I am verbose, if nothing else.
I had 2 other questions, but I only have time for one now.
Yeah.
And do you have anything coming up on the agenda that you want people to know about? Anything you can discuss?
I can discuss and let you know that I am in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which is Quentin Tarantino's new movie coming out this coming July. It's going to be amazing. I am going to go out on a limb and say it's going to be his best movie yet. It's got an incredible cast, starting with Leonardo DiCaprio, Brad Pitt, Kurt Russell, Al Pacino, Tim Oliphant, Margot Robbie, Dakota Fanning, Emile Hirsch, you name it, they're in it. So that's very, very, very exciting. I have a movie out called Come Said the Night, which is coming out this year. There's a movie on Netflix called The Endless that I would recommend to anyone. And I'm doing a pirate movie right now, similar to the Goonies meets Back to the Future, called Time Crafters. It's a kid's movie. I'm thrilled to do that because I love anything that uses your imagination. And what's the last question? You got one more. What was it?
What's your favorite baseball movie ever?
Favorite baseball movie ever is 8 Men Out, John Sayles, because I like that these men had to make decisions outside of that affected their passion on the field. They had to make decisions about their lives off the field. And I thought the acting was fantastic. Baseball's a hard movie to create because it is such a specific athletic activity. I think sports are difficult to do if you're not using real athletes.
Well, and I asked you that because you have a really strong modified baseball background.
I wanted to do baseball. The baseball movie that I did was Angels in the Outfield, my very first movie, where I could actually be a player. And I've always wanted to, and now I'm at an age where I've got to be a coach. So I'll look for a baseball movie where I'm the coach.
We're about to be tackled by red security.
Yep.
Guards, so
so good to be here.
The Grassy Pound's going to come in here and cut us.
I appreciate. They're fantastic, by the way.